Welcome back to Teaching Orchestra. We're back here in the lab and we're going to be doing some demonstration exercises on weight transfer, which is a good way to introduce motion to your students. So this is a very simple process. You're just going to have your students stand up. And, of course, make sure that they're taking care of their instruments and not, dropping them or whatever. You can have them set them off to the side or whatever, just as they're doing these weight transfer exercises. We don't want them to fall down and bust their instruments and all that kind of stuff. So the idea here is we're just getting them to figure out how to transfer weight from one foot to the other foot, one foot to the other foot. Okay, so that's just what we're going to do. Everybody transfer your weight to your left foot. We always start left first. Good, and now we're going to transfer the weight to the right. Okay, don't be out of balance. Make sure that go back to the left. Stay on the center of your foot and not roll to the outside of your foot. Good. Back the other way. Good. Now, some of the things that you'll see when they're doing this is you'll start to see students leaning side to side. You don't want to see any leading. You don't want to see any torso rotation or anything like that. You just want to see the weight transferring from one foot to the other foot like this. You'll also at the beginning of this start to see overcorrection, where they'll lean way too far to where they're out of balance. We want the students to remain in balance the whole time. Now, what I tend to do with students that are going too far is I'll just come out and I'll just stop Danielle here when she goes too far, and I can see when she's out of balance, and then she'll come back. Okay? For violins, it's good if we have our left foot forward and we start working on weight transfer in this direction, from the front foot to the back foot, and have the front foot pointing to the instructor. Okay? Once we've kind of mastered this, we can do it in rhythm. We can put on some music, Bob Phillips style, and have a good time with this. If it's class appropriate for high school level, it gets a little corny and we probably wouldn't do that in our classes, but in intermediate school it might work better. All right, go ahead and have a seat. We're going to try to do the same thing except in the chairs. It's important that we maintain that front foot, back foot position for violins. For cellos, we just want to make sure they can push off with their feet too to help transfer. And so we're just going to go back and forth again from the seated position. Again, we're going to be looking for the same things, making sure that they're not leaning their torsos, not twisting their torsos, but just shifting their weight back and forth. If you start to see somebody leaning, you can just kind of you can kind of get their torso back up so that they don't overcorrect. I'm sorry. So we can lean this way again and lean this way again, just so they get the feel of the motion. And with all of this kinesthetic stuff, they have to be able to do it right at least once before they can reproduce those motions. It's a neurological thing. So once they start to open those neurological pathways, they can refine and reinforce that. But it's trying to get them to do it right the first time. And sometimes you just got to physically move the students in the right position. So that's all I wanted to talk about with weight transfer. In the next video, we're going to be adding the bow to this and figuring out how this is going to affect our tone.